Here we go. I did not expect that, 86.9. Over the last month, we wanted to test out a really simple way to lose weight without really changing much about our current routine. Both Eloise and myself were exercising regularly throughout the week. I typically would do 4 weight sessions per week, along with 3 Peloton rides per week. Eloise was also doing regular Peloton rides, some strength sessions, and walking as well.
We eat well consistently, cooking most of our meals at home and occasionally having takeaway as well. We try to include more protein and veggies in most of our meals, but we're not too strict about our food choices. So without changing anything about our exercise habits, and without changing the food that we were eating, how could we possibly make a difference?
A few years ago, while studying with precision nutrition, we learnt about an eating habit that had a big effect on weight loss, eating to 80% full. While there's many different ways in order to eat to 80% full, the theory is the same. You simply eat until you're just satisfied, rather than eating till you're full or stuffed.
So why does this work so well for weight loss? It works because it helps you eat less without changing anything about the type of food that you're eating. This can be challenging for many of us because we've grown out of touch with our physical hunger cues. This happens due to the culture that we're in, where we're eating at specific meal times, eating in social situations, and emotional eating, like when we're bored or when we're stressed or tired.
When we were young kids, these innate physical hunger cues were what drove us to eat and also to stop eating. But as we get older, we start to form new habits because of our environment, which often means that we stop listening to those physical hunger cues.
Diet rules and other outdated weight loss tactics can also cause us to lose touch with these natural signals because we're taught to suppress them or ignore them, like hunger is a bad thing.
Stopping at 80% full can be really challenging, especially if there's food left on your plate. But there's a few ways that we can make this a lot simpler and get used to leaving a little bit of food behind. The habit that we chose to practice was leaving 2 bites behind at each meal. Good morning. So I wanted to jump on here and give you a little bit of an update. Eloise and I are about to start a challenge for the next 30 days. So what we're going to be doing is showing how we're implementing a lot of the methods that we teach in our programs. So what we do is we take a bunch of habits and we kind of stack them on top of each other, and we give them to our clients in varying degrees to help them obviously lose weight and keep it off. What we're going to be doing for this specific challenge is taking one of those small actions in isolation, complete isolation, and we're just going to apply it to ourselves and our normal routine. So we're going to find out what the difference is if we apply just one action consistently over 30 days. And I'm excited to see what the next 30 days is going to be like.
We wanted to prove that a small and simple habit, like just leaving 2 bites behind, could make a difference to our results without us changing anything else.
For this 30-day challenge, we did things a little bit differently to how most typically do a challenge. We made it flexible. Having done a lot of prior study into the science of habit and behavior change, we anticipated that obstacles will come up along the way. It's normal for things to come up and expected when building new habits. Losing motivation and hitting roadblocks happens to the best of us, even in something relatively short like a 30-day challenge.
To make it more likely for us to stick to this challenge, we decided to make it flexible by implementing a scale system.
This scale system was going to help us track our adherence to this simple action of leaving 2 bites behind.
We had 3 levels that were going to earn us a cross on our habit calendar.
We scored a bronze when we left 2 bites at only 1 meal per day.
We scored silver if we left 2 bites at 2 meals per day.
And we scored gold if we left 2 bites at every meal, including snacks.
This level system allowed us to adjust each day and remain consistent, even if we only left 2 bites at 1 meal. A big tripping hazard that we see with our clients, and something we experience ourselves too, is trying to be perfect. It's easy to believe that each day you should score a gold, and if you don't, then that's a fail. But this is how most typical challenges let us down, because perfection is not possible in real life.
If we keep feeling like we're failing, we're more likely to quit on ourselves at the first sign of a mistake and never see the results that we truly want. In reality, not every day is going to be perfect, and some action on those tough days is better than no action. So that was our aim here, consistency over perfection.
The first few days were pretty easy to stick to. The challenge was new and exciting, and so leaving bites behind wasn't much of a big deal. But as time went on, old habits and old beliefs started to creep in, and it became a little bit harder to stick to.
Some of the things that we both found difficult were old beliefs about food. Even though we're both coaches and we've been doing this stuff for a while, old beliefs were still coming up. We'd spent time creating the meal, so there was a big element of feeling like we're wasting food if we didn't finish it. It's also challenging to stop eating when you're enjoying a really delicious meal.
Most of these same beliefs are things that our clients have experienced when they try to implement this habit of leaving bites behind. Often they feel guilty or like it's wasteful to leave food on their plate. These beliefs are often formed when we're quite young and we're told by our parents that leaving food behind is wasteful or that it's bad.
It's crazy how much those old beliefs influence what we do today and many of the challenges we face around food. Distractions were another thing that came up. Whether we were just on our phones, we were watching TV, or we were doing something else where our attention was on that rather than what we were eating. We'd often then just switch onto autopilot and end up finishing the entire meal without even realizing it.
It's week 2 of the challenge and I just jumped off the scale and it's up. This is not what I planned for this 30-day challenge. It's a little bit disappointing. However, I'm still a little bit down from where I first started in week 1. And it's times like these where the mindset work and the journaling that we do is really important, because it's easy to quit or to assume that when the scale is up, that means that we're doing it wrong, or that means that this method isn't going to work. So it's right now when I need to do the real work, which is trusting the process and keep moving forward, even when it feels like maybe it's not working. I'm starting to have doubt and question what I'm doing. Right now is when it's important for me to keep going and trust the process. And that is exactly what I plan to do. Let's see what happens.
The level system proved to be key in us completing the challenge. We wanted this to be as real as possible, so we didn't go out of our way to manipulate any of our circumstances. We just went about our meals as we normally would.
I definitely think I'm still eating past 80% full, even though I am leaving bites behind. Definitely a little bit mentally challenging sometimes to stop eating when the food tastes good or when I get distracted. But I've found that having those levels is really helpful, because even when I don't do it perfectly, I can still tick the habit off, and that is really helping with my motivation to keep going. I always come back to reminding myself that if I'm not hungry, I don't need them. As you can see, both of us mostly got silver throughout the challenge, which means we were leaving 2 bites behind at 2 of our meals for the day. We got very few golds over the 30 days. If our goal had have been to only get golds every single day, no matter what, we probably would have failed miserably. But we didn't fail, we succeeded, even if that was just leaving bites at 1 meal. Our goal was to show up and improve our eating habits, and we achieved that.
This flexibility was ultimately why we were able to see this challenge through, to keep going on those days that were quite stressful or busy, and to then get the results that we did. And that just goes to show the power of flexibility and consistency. So over the course of 30 days, I lost 2 kilos by implementing this without changing anything else I was doing. I was actually quite surprised from doing this, since what we were doing previously wasn't bad by any means. We were doing quite a lot of exercise, we were eating quite consistently and quite well. So to lose an extra 2 kilos was really amazing.
Normally my weight loss goal is to lose around 1% of my body weight per month, which is around 600 grams at the moment. And I surpassed that goal by losing 650 grams this month. Now, I was pretty surprised by this, because this month I haven't been feeling my best. I've been a little bit tired and I've actually been exercising less than normal. Losing 600 grams to a lot of people might not sound like very much, but to me, my goal is consistent and sustainable results. And I've been losing weight for the last 2 years, and I'm still going, and I'm still consistently losing those small amounts, which adds up and it makes a big difference.
One of the big things for me is during this experiment, I found that after a meal, I didn't feel really full or stuffed or bloated. And when I left a little bit more than 2 bites, this was even more pronounced. After the first week, this was probably the biggest thing that I noticed, and I kept experiencing that same feeling from week 2 and beyond. This was probably one of the biggest benefits that I personally took away from this experiment.
I felt similar results as well. I've been physically feeling so much better after eating, whereas typically I would feel bloated and a little bit uncomfortable. When I leave 2 bites behind, I find that doesn't happen anymore. This has shown me that I can actually reduce my portion sizes and still feel satisfied after a meal. And I feel like it's so crazy how much of a difference such a small change can make. And there are still times where I forget to leave bites behind. This just shows you don't have to be perfect. I still saw results that I was really happy with, being far from perfect during this challenge. Just aim to be consistently a little bit better. That has been my major focus over the last 30 days.
So in conclusion, this is definitely something that we're going to be continuing to use and continuing to work on, since it also helps remove a lot of the uncomfortable feelings after a meal.
It's also super simple to implement, and it means that we can eat all types of food while still losing weight.
And this is only one of the small actions that we teach in our coaching program. Usually this is stacked with a few other key habits that are designed to help clients lose weight and keep it off. So it was really interesting for us to use this one action in isolation and just plug that straight into our current routines.
That's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and also subscribe for more content like this.
If you did enjoy this video, you might also like this video here, which others have found helpful too. Thank you so much for watching, and we will both see you next time.